Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation.
Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. In a world of fun and fantasy, and ever-changing views, and computer terminology, Commodore is news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.
I forgot to unmute. Oh, I ruined my own introduction. Okay. I ruined my own introduction. Yes, welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I often forget to unmute, or I forget to start on time, or both. I guess tonight I started on time and forgot to unmute. Thomas says, I blame my hearing aids. Well, I certainly hope the Commodore song had music, because I would hate to have pulled that gag and that be muted too. But anyways, let's see who we have in the chat who has been asked by the commercial if they're keeping up with the Commodore. We have Thomas Armstrong. Yeep. We have Francois. Hi, Thomas and Francois. We have Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Hi, Dave. We have Jack68K. Hi, Jack. We have K-Mac Vintage. Hi, Will. Yes, I hope everyone is taking care that's under the heat dome. We have Gut Bomb. Hi, Jason. We have, let's see here. Oh, I guess that's everyone in the chat. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Channel announcements up. I got my coffee goal. There's the little goal bar a doodle. The link is in the video description. I also have a poll on Ko-fi. It is a public poll. They're doing a coffee challenge this month, and the challenge was to post a poll. So, well, I guess for a shot at whatever their prize is for the random drawn person, I'd start a poll. So if you go to my socials, you can go to the Ko-fi page and you can vote for your favorite of the 8-bit platforms that were released in North America, or at least the major ones. I'm sure I left out a couple because there were a bunch of them. At least I think I got the major ones. So, and if you see my social post, feel free to boost or retweet or whatever. It's not just limited to viewers. Hey, the more the merrier. Anyways, let's see here. We have Hey Mac. Oh, 108 for our feel like today. I have to see my power bills for the next 5 months. Ooh, yikes. Yeah. With feels like temperatures like that, I'd hate to see my power bills. All right. And I think that's about it for announcements. I think we can go ahead and get on with the main event, because Dave's asking, am I keeping up with the Macintosh? Jack says, the Macintosh is keeping up with me. Jack says, Windows, on the other hand. Windows, on the other hand, is doing things that we wish it wouldn't keep up with us by doing. But yes, apparently the Commodore has kept up with me, because my friend that gave me a couple Macintoshes a couple weeks ago had asked me if I wanted some Commodore computers. Figured he wasn't going to use them anymore, so I said, sure. In fact, Tuesday, when I said, hey, maybe we'll look at that Apple II clone board tonight, I had forgotten there was the chance that I might get a message yesterday saying, hey, the pickup's ready. Well, luckily I can pivot on a dime, and I even have the first of the boxes on the bench because there were a total of 3 boxes he handed me, and I thought I would start with possibly the best one in terms of spoiling the surprise. It's in a bit rough shape, though. But anyways, we have... I mean, there's no sense in lying. I did double check what was in it, so I made sure I wasn't going to open it to like a rattlesnake or something. Assuming a rattlesnake didn't crawl in my basement today. We have a Commodore 64C. Also, there was little risk in like double checking what was inside because my friend said as much that it was old in box. So, anyways, we have an old in box. He beat me to the words. Commodore 64C, personal computer or ordinateur personnel, or however you say that in French. I'm sure I butchered it. With GEOS inside. We'll test that. Free inside, Q-Link software kit and first month membership. I know it's kind of off screen. Maybe the Q-Link hasn't been used and we'll be able to dial in. But anyways, yes, so we will go ahead and open this up. And I did check what was in here, but I've left everything in here, and I won't be able to see the chat until we pull everything out. But we have a stack of paperwork and manuals, which there's some definitely interesting things here. There is at least one thing with personal information, although it's old personal information, but I'll still cover it up. And we have the box with a power adapter that is more sus than Squawker's. Ooh, and an RF adapter. Neat. And then, of course, the pièce de résistance. We have a Commodore 64C. So we will get to that. We'll get to that momentarily. Ah, we have toiletty. Yay. Welcome. Yes. Just in time to hopefully have missed me butchering the French on the top of this box. All right, so what was in this stack of paperwork? There actually was some interesting things. Some of this I might have to scan in because I bet this information's been lost to time, although I think this is probably something that I don't know that anyone would want to use, but apparently the thing that was on the top of the box was the instructions to adapt a Commodore 64 to an RS-232 modem interface if modem will accept TTL levels. It's like dot matrix printed. It's actually kind of neat. Apparently you needed a couple resistors and a transistor and it looks like 2 transistors and a diode. Interesting. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. There was a store receipt, which we'll look at this in a moment, because I'll probably have to bring up the currency converter so we can adjust it for inflation. We have the Commodore 64C Personal Computer Introductory Guide. Ooh, some other... Ooh, there's a business reply card. Oh no, the warranty was never registered. We weren't keeping up with the Commodore after all. Oh, no. Maybe if I mail it in, we'll still get our 90-day warranty. We have a... please read this first, and it appears as if it was for both the 64 and the 128. Oh, actually, it looks like for all of the things that you might have for either your 64 or your 128. That's actually kind of neat. Oh, that's a Sadback. Hi, Sadback. Yeah, I don't think the Commodore is keeping up with anyone. Yeah, you're right. Unless it's Cloanto, and then they're keeping up with the people that pay for their Floanto. Program description of SID demo. And sound paddles. I don't know. This looks like a photocopied something or other with a parts list from Falk Baker Associates in Nutley, New Jersey. Looks like looks like some ICs that would go in a Commodore. I guess these were the replacement prices. Oh, I suspect maybe that company published these directions for a diagnostic they produced, and then I guess they conveniently sold replacement parts to repair your Commodore. So, interesting. Guess if anyone wants to take a quick glance at the prices, we might pick a few of these and adjust them for inflation. But yeah, this is actually kind of neat that it looks like they've handwritten a couple corrections and then photocopied it. And it looks like one of these parts here, the 6526, nearly doubled in price at one point. Looks like they were completely out of 6529s. 6581s, it looks like those went up by $2. And this manual would cost you an extra buck. Yeah. Gupbum says, wow, 6522s were expensive back then. 65. Oh, yeah, they were actually rather pricey. Don't, yeah, I think the most expensive part on this price list is it looks like the 6581. So I guess SIDs were expensive even back then. So there we go. And I guess if anyone's wondering, dated January 25th, 1983. They're around the same price now. So I guess the value's gone down. All right, I'll set this to the side. We might adjust a couple of those for inflation and maybe see what they go for now. All right. Now this is where I'll have to cover up a little bit of information. But there was looks like a CompuServe trial packet here. And a receipt from Kmart. Yes, the Kmart in Boone, North Carolina, December 21st, 1983, for a total of $71.73. Paid cash. Thank you for shopping at Kmart. For a VIC-20 modem was $68.97. Plus, it looks like, was that a dollar? Oh, 71.73 total. 1:30 a.m. Wow. Looks like a last-minute Christmas purchase, perhaps. Jack's asking, you could buy computer stuff at Kmart in 1983? Well, apparently so. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It had that receipt. And then there's a CompuServe trial packet. In fact, actually, some of these prices, if you thought those ICs were expensive, I don't know if you all realize how expensive CompuServe was. So, all right. CompuServe was no joke. So there's the connect rates. Effective, I think, May 1st, 1983. If you wanted to connect to CompuServe, the standard connect rate for up to 300 baud was $5 an hour. 1200 baud would set you back $17.50. The prime usage rate was $22.50 for 300 baud or lower and $35 for 1200 baud per hour, with a minimum of 2 hours for prime service. per hour. Now, you're probably asking, because it doesn't say there, well, when was standard and prime service? Well, there we go. It's right there. Standard service was 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. weekdays, all day Saturdays, Sundays, and announced CompuServe holidays, and prime service 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays. This disclaimer here is a bit scary. Gutbomb says that's $55.09 per hour in 2024 for 1,200 baud. Yeah, this disclaimer is scary. Service between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. weekdays is on an as-available basis. Should any part of a session occur within our prime service, the entire session will be billed at our prime service rate. Otherwise, it will be billed at our standard service rate. So if you hop on early a.m., you best be off by 8 a.m. and probably a few minutes earlier to make sure that what you think is going to be a $5 call, $5 an hour, doesn't turn into $22.50 an hour. Yeah. Actually, these prices make Comcast Xfinity's rates seem like a cakewalk. And then of course, here's the communication surcharges, online disk storage charges. I mean, some of these I can't explain because it's kind of not used to how CompuServe did things. But yeah, there you go. If you thought your ISP is expensive today, it used to be a whole lot more expensive. Thomas says it sounds like our electric bill. Yeah. Your electricity used between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. is on an as available basis. If you're using any electricity in our prime service time, your entire electricity bill will go up to our prime rate. Yeah. Oh, hi Jesse, welcome. I-8386 Metro E Frontier is thousands a month for not even 1 gigabit internet. Gutbomb says $35 an hour in 1983 is an eye-watering $110.18 in 2024. Jesse says the old job paid $3K a month for 200 megabit. Wow. All right, so let's continue the books so we can get to this Commodore in the box. We have Mr. Byte presents computer games, plus free mystery number computer program. 12 collector stickers inside. Unfortunately, the stickers got used a long time ago. And unfortunately, this book is less exciting than it seems like. Because I was thinking this was going to be a book that had lots of programs you could try in it, or maybe a hint that there was a floppy disk with programs on it. But no, I don't know. It does have a basic program in the back you can type in, and it supposedly works on, what does it say? This program is written in standard basic and is compatible with most leading brand home computers. So, yeah. Anyways, so we got a little kid's book. That's kind of neat. Jesse says now they pay $3K a year, I think, for service that actually stays up. Yeah. Thomas asks, anyone remember the ISDN 128K lines? Yeah, I remember them, but never had one. I think the school had one. Catalog of games from Data East. Wow. This was probably in the Commodore box. Wow, look at all these games. I wonder if all these screenshots are from the Commodore 64 versions. Because unfortunately, a lot of these catalogs, especially when it was like a catalog for multiple platforms, they would always use the best screenshot and not necessarily the like one from the platform you might want to play. And I think that sometimes includes they'd use the arcade screenshot if they could get away with it. Anyways, there you go. There's a, if anyone wants to take a peek at a price list there. Wow. Some of these game prices make today's games seem not as expensive because look at this. These Amiga games were $44.95. Okay, it does look like this. No, this probably didn't come with the Commodore because it looks like this is a much later catalog. That's like June and July of 1989 for those games. So, all right, it probably just got put in with the box. All right, so we won't spend much time with that because that looks like a newer catalog. All right, and now there's a some handwritten notes and schematics and whatnot, and it looks like some printed instructions for using Kermit from Dr. Evil Laboratories. Interesting. Ah, so it's like they might have been doing file transfers. That's actually kind of neat. Gutbum says $45 in 1989 is $113 today. Wow. I think games are, I think, actually at that rate, I think games have kind of um have depreciated. Okay, now this is interesting. So it looks like this is the binder for an assembler, but there's no discs in it. But what I find interesting is, does anyone want to guess where this was purchased? Okay, the Assembler Development System, Commodore 64 software. And it looks like this was actually from Commodore. Anyone want to guess where this came from? I'll all right, I'll give you a hint maybe. There's $15. You look really Gutbomb guessed it. Kmart Assembler Development System from Kmart for $15. E5. Ah, yes, I remember when they, yeah, I guess they'd probably punch in things like that because there's no barcode on this. So, yeah, I remember those days vaguely where the clerk would type in like 785 $15 and hit key 5 or something like that. I think some things had barcodes back then, but apparently that didn't. Gutbump says, I guess Kmart because of the other receipt. Yeah, I was trying to make it too easy. The Commodore 64 Macro Assembler Development System. This might be the manual that went with that binder. So we'll have to see if this is in the discs that are in the other box. Yes, I do know there's some discs in the other box. And then, last but not least, before we get to that C64, we have the C64 Commodore 64C Personal Computer System Guide, Learning to Program in Basic 2.0, printed in USA. You know, I have to say these manuals are in pretty good shape. Well cared for. All right. Of course, you'll see in a moment where I think this Commodore might have been a, like, either a second computer or a replacement computer. So that might also explain why those manuals are in pretty good shape. Oh, all right. Before we go into the computer in the box, there was that one other thing. I wanted to kind of pull this receipt out because I don't know exactly what this goes with. This may be the, well, I'll go ahead and spill the beans. This may go to the Commodore in the other box because I'm not sure. Because this doesn't look like a Kmart receipt. But then again, this Commodore may have not been bought by Kmart, so maybe this is for this Commodore. But anyways, and I'm not spilling anything. I think I put it in the description anyways. So it looks like the 64K RAM PE, and I'm presuming this is a Commodore, $119.99. Date on the receipt is 1989. Okay. And then it looks like there was a Wiz QS118F Wiz for $9. And then Batman C64 for $20.89. Subtotal of $149. Probably going to be 88. Yeah. 88. Yep. 149.88, 674 tax. 156.62 total. And there we go. Oh yeah, there's the date. August 1st, 89. Kind of looks like. I don't think that's Kmart. Although, yeah, I think Kmart at that time had. No, I'm pretty sure that's not Kmart because I'm sure Kmart would have at least like printed Kmart on it. I mean, I could be wrong. Frank S says probably a blue light special. I mean, it could have come from Kmart. I would have thought they would have printed Kmart on it, but maybe that's a separate receipt from maybe they. Oh, there's the disc exchange form. It was in the bottom of the box. All right, that'll be handy in case any of my discs are bad. Just mail it to the Westchester location, and we'll get some new discs from Commodore. Yeah, Jesse says Father Kmart would print their name on it. Yeah, I was pretty sure. So that was probably from a smaller retailer. Or some retailer that maybe had much sooner taken or computerized their operations. Capcom says, I doubt Kmart still sold C64s in 1989. Yeah, you might be right there. You might very well be right. Although, if they were still selling them that late, it probably would have been the C64C, because I believe that would have been the like last models, because they were making them to kind of match the design language of the newer computers. But yeah. So here we go. It's the C64C. I do not know if this still works. But it does look like it was. Let's see here. I don't know if this helps anyone know. It's vintage, but it does look like this is serial number CA1646871. I do not see a manufacturing location on that label. Final test by 33. So, anyone out there in the chat, if you were number 33 at the manufacturing location where this was made, well, you're looking at one of your computers that you final tested. Jack says if it doesn't work, watch a lot of Adrian Black videos. Yeah, seriously. Gutbomb says it came out in 1986. Yeah, yeah. So, there is some kind of dirt and grime. There's some mystery liquid drips. I'm hoping that's just on the outside. We've got the expansion port, which looks like it's in decent shape. There's our RF modulator, our RF output. There's our video connector. Ooh, I think that's the one that has Chroma Luma on it. Nice. I'll have to get the cable that fits that. There's our serial port. There's our cassette port. And there's our user port. And it does look like the ports are relatively clean, which is good. Yeah, Jack says, oh yeah, that was me totally. Number 33, yeah. And there we go. There's our game port and power switch, a power plug, and there we go. Control ports, power switch, and then the power connector. That and the keyboard's in decent shape. Yeah, this is the version that had the special symbols printed on the top of the key, but at least all the keys are here. It feels okay. It seems to me the older keyboards might have been a touch nicer. Of course, then again, I might be thinking of another computer platform. Actually, the keyboard might be the same. It might be. I'm remembering they were better than they actually were. I don't know. All right, we have an RF modulator that plugs into the RF output. This was a Commodore part. It's taped together, so I'm wondering if at some point the owner had to take it apart and like maybe contact clean the slider or something. Oh, Gutbomb says I might be wrong about Kmart not selling them in 1989. I am looking at a 1989 Sears catalog, and it has a big spread for the 64C. Oh well, if Sears was selling it in '89, then Kmart probably was too. The thing is, Commodore was relying on C64 sales for way too long, so it definitely doesn't surprise me that retailers were trying to sell it in '89. All right, and we have a Commodore power supply that feels like it's dented. That's weird. I mean, you can probably see the dent in it. 1483. Um, I don't know if I want to even bother with this. Jack says, well, Apple made the 2E until what, 1993 or something ridiculous? Yes, I think Apple did make the Apple 2E until 1993. I believe near the end, though, it was probably mostly education sales. But I think the difference between Apple and Commodore was Apple had the Macintosh, and Apple was doing a decent job marketing the Macintosh. So they weren't only relying on 8-bit computer sales, although I'm sure it certainly was a large part of their gross earnings or their net earnings, gross earnings for probably a long time. But I think the problem is Commodore had the Amiga and they did not do a good job marketing it and instead relied on the Commodore 64 for way too much. I think if they had better realized what the Amiga was and better marketed it towards that audience, then its potential Commodore might have survived, or at least survived longer. I haven't totally convinced myself that the market would have supported 3 computer platforms. Maybe it would have if there was better intercompatibility between them. I don't know, but it's possible Commodore might have survived longer had they actually marketed the Amiga to an industry at least, if not multiples, instead of just kind of their executives being like, "Oh, we don't know what this is." That Gutbomb says there were almost as many pages of typewriters as there were computers in the 1989 catalog. And the C64C wasn't discontinued until 1993 as well. I believe that the 64C was discontinued not um it was very close to when they filed bankruptcy, I believe. They might have discontinued it right before, but anyways, I don't know that I want to plug this power adapter in cuz you can actually see it is dented. And it's a plastic case. What would dent a plastic case? Oh, it actually. Oh, I think it's actually cracked. Although the other thing is, though, I am quite curious as to what voltages it might be outputting, because these are known to like be Commodore killers. I think I might just grab a different power adapter and not even try this. What's your thoughts in the chat? Do I attempt to power this up and see what voltages it's putting out? Do I just go grab another power adapter and it's cracked on the top. It says input 117 volts. That's very precise. Yeah, Jack. Gutbomb says, but we want fire. Okay, okay. All right. Well, I didn't learn from the iMac. Well, actually, maybe I did learn from the iMac. All right. Now, you better believe I'm not plugging the C64 in into it. At least not without volt checking it. All right. Well, let's see what happens if I turn it on real quick. All right. 3, 2, 1. Well, it didn't trip any breakers. That's a good sign. Okay. Well, let's measure voltages. I don't remember which pin is which, so we will just simply go to volts AC. Actually, I could probably find a pin out here real quick. All right, let's see what the pinout is. It's going to be okay. So seven. See, pins 7 and 6 are the ones that are on either side of the notch. So there's the notch. So pin 7 and 6 are AC. So my meter is in AC mode. So if I can very carefully. Actually, this would be a lot easier if I could find the clip leads for my meter. All right, let me see if I can find the clip leads for my meter real quick, because that would make this a whole lot easier. I just don't remember what I did with them. All right, I don't know where they are. I'll let's see if I can measure carefully without them. All right, so pin 7, because the shell is probably going to be oh. Hmm. Okay, so that looks like that was 10 volts AC. I think that's within spec for no load. Fortunately, so the other two pins are going to be DC and going to be pin 5. So I think, all right, I think think that said 10 volts. All right. A DIN female connector makes it easy. I don't have a DIN female connector handy. Not a 7-pin one. Oh, I must have it backwards. Okay. Did that say 5 volts? Oh, it's 5 volts. Well, this power adapter is, yeah, this power adapter's working good. Working well. I mean, I definitely wouldn't trust it for, let's put it this way. It's regulating now. Probably okay for a quick test. But it's something that every time before every use, I would have to recheck that it was still working. Oh, Frank says, I think those were more reliable than the older ones. Okay. The 5 volt has been known to go 12 volt and pop the C64. Well, at the moment, it's 5 volts. It hasn't forgotten how to 5 volts. So, all right. So I got power. I've got video. Oh, wait, that's the RF output. Up. Hold, please. I'm going to have to go find the video cable. I just realized that's an RF output, not a. All right. I am not sure where my Commodore video cable went to. All right. Hold, please, while I. The interesting thing is, I see none of my video cables have been connected, which probably means I stuck them all in the same place for safekeeping. That's the TI's RF adapter. I don't seem to have an AV cable for any of the DIN cable requiring vintage computers. But that's preposterous because I have several. Well, we might have to go through the other box because I somewhat remember loaning the person that gave me these C64s. I somewhat remember loaning them an AV cable, so maybe that AV cable's in the other box. Because I don't want to use the RF adapter because I don't have I don't have a TV with the two leads on it to connect it to. Ugh. I don't know what I did with those cables. I kind of thought they were just sitting on the shelf behind me, but they're not. Hmm. All right. I guess we're going to have to go through the other box and hopefully there's a AV cable in it because Justin's luck with video related things is not good. Yeah, I seriously don't know where all my video cables went. I remember loaning one of them out, not all of them. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to set this C64C to the side because I don't know where the AV cable went. If we find the AV cable in the other box, that would confirm that I loaned this person the AV cable at one point. All right, box number two. It's also possible I might find the AV cable was hidden behind the box. No. All right, I guess I'm going to have to order more video cables. All right, so we have a. Don't let the Hammond paper mill, Hammond hammer mill box fool you. It says Commodore. Well, it's upside down, but it says Commodore. And what do we have in here? Well, boy, oh boy, do we have lots of goodies in here. Okay. That's cool, a Commodore hammer mill computer. Well, here's our VIC modem that cost what, 68.97 or something like that back in 83. There we go. There's the VIC modem. VIC modem, telephone interface cartridge, made in USA. 300 baud. This would have been $5 an hour on CompuServe non-prime hours. All right, we got a bunch of discs. We have some Commodore manuals. We have a Commodore manual that is missing the front cover. Oh, I think this is the basic programming guide. Probably the one that came with the original C64, which I believe is down in the box. Yeah, Commodore. Frank says, cool, a Commodore treasure chest. Does it work with a VIC-20? I don't know, Thomas. Because I thought the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64 had different user ports. Or maybe the user ports are the same. Because that probably goes in the user port. It might actually work with the VIC-20. They may have the same user port. Because that definitely is a user port card. All right, we have the... Ah. Oh. Oh, yeah, it looks like there's some handy reference numbers for the Commodore Customer Service Center and that Falk Baker company that sold Commodore chips. And that's the programmer's reference manual. So, wow. This got some use. All right. And we have a bunch of discs. Like an insert for Cosme Forbidden Forest. There's a Attack of the Mutant Camels from Tessware. We'll have to see if any of these programs are in here. So there we go. We got an Activision video game cartridge catalog, Winter Spring 1984. Ooh, boy, that would have been awesome to look at back in the day. Actually, that looks like it's for Activision. All right, we have Quantum Link program disc version 4. So this would have been bundled with that other C64. I'll set this disc over to the side. I can keep it with that. Here we go. GEOS Desktop 1.5 for the Commodore 64C. Okay, there's our bundled GEOS desktop. Up. And there's the additional. So it looks like it's a flippy disk. All right. Ooh, we've got Pitfall from Activision. Oh, neat. On a floppy disk. All right. We have Develop 64. I'm sure this is an authentic backup. Don't know what Develop 64 is, but well, like it might be a backup copy, totally legit backup copy. We have a disc that might have, well, I don't know what was on it, but it looks like it might have been erased because it's got a line through it. Ooh, it's a Memorex. Individually tested, 100% certified, error-free. All right, we will put that to the test. Type A, one-sided double density Memorex. Although it looks like it's a 3M disc inside of it, but who's counting? Oh, that's neat. Looks like 3M was putting serial numbers on their labels or something, or maybe that's just a manufacturing code. They could go back if you sent the disc in because it failed early. They could figure out where it was made. Ooh, here we go. Commodore, side 1 assorted, side 2 NTWK network. Yes. A legit write protect notch and a self-punched one. All right, we've got another 3M disc here. Network Project. And a bunch of stuff written there. Celery Software, Grandmaster. Maybe there's a chess program in here. Jack says, I just saw my write protect puncher the other day. Neat. Ooh, Starpost. Commodore. All right, maybe Starpost is in here. It's an orange write protect notch. Oh, there we go. It's the VIC-20 VIC modem, the friendly computer. A pioneering achievement in modem technology. Oh, that's why the VIC modem looked odd. You plug. Oh yeah, this would have been the era where you weren't allowed to plug devices into the phone line, so you would disconnect the handset and you would plug that into the handset on the telephone. Jack says the pioneering achievement was selling it at Kmart. Yeah. All right, we have Pitfall Harry's Guide to Jungle Journeys. Oh, because there we go. Pitfall 2, Lost Caverns. Oh, neat. So we've got Pitfall. Oh, and there's an Activision sleeve, so looks like some discs got mixed around. That was just marked sound. So maybe it's got some sound programs on it. Might just have bad sectors nowadays. We have Mediator from Celery Software. Don't know what that is. Good night, Frank. Oh, there we go. It is a slightly warped disc, unfortunately. So something tells me this disc is probably had it, but there's our Commodore Assembler Development System disk. I wonder if maybe if I put it between some heavy books, if it would flatten out. But unfortunately, might have to see if that's been archived to be able to try that out. Ooh, we have the C64 demo disc that had a write protect notch punched in the other side so that the owner could put disk utilities on side 2. Fortunately, that disc is a little bit warped too, so. Oh, we've got Star Trek Evolution from Load and Go Software. Beginner Star Trek Junior, Star Trek Senior. This looks like a totally officially licensed product, doesn't it? Yeah, totally official. We'll have to try that out. Other than I think the disc is slightly moldy. Okay, maybe we won't be trying that disc out. Oh, there's our Grandmaster Chess program from Celery Software. Yeah, some of these discs might actually not be suitable for trying. There's Forbidden Forest. Yeah, might have to. That one doesn't look as bad. Might have to inspect it. Here we got Enemy Warders from Allah Enterprises. Allah Enterprises out of ALA Enterprises. Oh, there we go. There's our Q-Link, just for Commodore owners, the official Commodore online service. 1 month membership free. Q-Link. Vienna, Virginia. Interesting. It'd be interesting to know what's currently located there. In fact, I'm tempted to open this up here because the adhesive was actually mostly failed anyways. There we go. There's our registration certificate that you have to open up for your registration code. Win free Data East software. Need a modem? Be inside for special offer. I wonder what the special offer is. Take full advantage of your Commodore computer with this special modem offer. You can now get a 300 baud auto dial modem for the low price of $29.95. To get the most out of your Commodore computer, you'll need a modem. Blah, 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 blah. Q-Link is very easy to use and affordable. Yeah, call us right now, toll free at number that's probably disconnected. Ask for extension 1254. Yes! Send me my 300 baud auto dial modem and charge my credit card for $29.95. Offer good while supply lasts. Something tells me the supply has ended. Westwood Center Drive in Vienna, Virginia. I wonder what's there now. Local Access Directory. Oh, wow. This Q-Link actually had a good selection of numbers, unlike CompuServe. Yeah, the CompuServe list was not nearly this big. Let's see if where I lived in about this time would have had a local access number. Oh, yep, there we go. Yeah. Wow, in Virginia? Yeah, ooh. That's a good bit of Virginia covered. Yeah, CompuServe didn't have nearly that list of access numbers. What's missing? I don't know. What's missing? Let me guess. This is one of those hard sell brochures. It's like you open it up and it says, you are missing. Oh, nope. Oh, it's an advertisement for Commodore magazine. Oh, of course. I should have seen that coming. Okay, hidden in the thing for Commodore magazine, there's this note that I'm pretty sure should have probably been a little more obvious than you have to open the Q-Link brochure. After turning the computer off, please wait at least 30 seconds before turning the computer on again to ensure that all data in memory has been reset. Shorter resetting intervals may cause undesired operation. Okay, why did you bury that important note in the Q-Link advertising packet? Q-Link members guide. Let's see, what did Q-Link have? Q-Link had. Oh, that's neat. Oh, apparently. Oh, okay, that's really neat. Apparently, they gave you a little thing to put on your function keys. I don't know. Oh, this must be for the C128 or something. Because that definitely doesn't fit a Commodore 64, but that's actually kind of neat there. Free tour of Quantum Link. Wow, this would have been like amazing back in the day. Huh. That's pretty cool. Wow. Kind of makes me wish there was a way to check out Q-Link today. Just if I could only get my $29.95 300 baud modem that's auto dial. I guess I'll have to settle for my VIC-20 modem. It's not auto dial, but well. All right, and we have a Commodore 64. And I believe it is open already because, well, I know something about this Commodore 64 that I don't remember if I put in the video description or not. But it's broken. You're probably thinking, well, how in the world would you know that? Well, I think that might be why there's two Commodores in the lot, because I'm kind of wondering if this one, the user port's broken, or at least that's the description I have. So it's quite possible the C64C was purchased because it was cheaper to just buy a C64C than repair the fault with this. Or I don't know, or maybe this broke even later. But apparently the user port's broken, so there are repairs inside this box. And of course, what Commodore 64 setup would be complete without the 1541 floppy drive? There we go. It's even the version that's got the push-down door. So those are the more reliable floppy mechanisms. All right. So we've got a 1541. We'll have to give that a try. Oh, there we go. We have a project wire harness thing. Bet that went into the user port and connected to something. And we've got some cartridges. We'll go through these in a moment. And we've got some memory modules that don't go to the C64. And let's see, there's the floppy cable. Hi, Jeremy. Welcome. All right. There's a cable and a power cable. And oh, okay. That's that's the cable to this power adapter. And phone cables. All right. And this book, Kids and the Vic. By Edward H. Carlson, Department of Physics and Astronomy, Michigan State University. Illustrations, Paul D. Trapp, Datamost. Copyright 1982. Oh, this is a basic programming lesson book for kids. If your homework is done, then you may have some cake. Ah, I guess I'll have to make sure I do my homework then. Oh, that is actually kind of neat. I have to look up who that artist is, but this art looks very familiar. Almost like Edward or Paul Trapp illustrated other books too. So, neat. No, there is not a VIC-20 in the bundle of stuff. Unfortunately, there's not a video cable, so I may have to go. I'll have to go probably looking for video cable again. All right, but we have 4 cartridges here. We have Frogmaster. I don't know why I'm getting the impression that's a clone of Frogger, potentially. We have Radar Rat Race. We have Star Post. And we have Mystery Cartridge. Mystery Cartridge. Mystery Cartridge. Love Mystery Cartridge. From Hessware. Oh, wait. Does anyone remember what game? There was a Hessware manual in the stack. I bet that will tell us what game that was. All right. Oh, I think this looks like. Is this the power adapter style that was like very unreliable? That actually looks like a newer power adapter. Mark 1088. All right, let's see if I can find the Hessware manual. All right, there's all these floppy disks. Oh, here we go. Attack of the Mutant Camels. I bet that's what that cartridge is. Attack of the Mutant Camels. The Earth depends on your success. Well, then, I'm hoping I can find the video cable that's somewhere in my basement. All right, well, let's. There is one more box of stuff. Let's see if by chance there's a video cable in it. Although I'm not holding out much hope because there's. All right, let me remove that from the box because that's I threw my Mauser order in this box, so hopefully I don't lose that Mauser order. All right, we have. All right, there's one other item in this box that did not come from my friend, and I believe it's, yeah, this IDE cable. I tossed that in the box so I'd bring it down too. All right, we have a VGA cable. Yeah, some of this is not Commodore stuff. So, spare VGA cable, because it was tangled up with these phone cords, which is like, do you have any use for them? I was like, maybe. So, it's kind of like, well, free VGA cable, you just have to detangle it from the phone cords. So, I guess if I ever hook my VIC modem up, I have phone cords. There was a random floppy cable. Oh, no, that's a SCSI cable. I think. No, I don't. I think that might be a SCSI cable. All right. And another SCSI cable. Yep, there were some random cables in here, and a couple of Linksys routers that I'm sure are totally secure these days, and a extra power adapter. All right. Well, who knows? Maybe I could run like one of the open source router programs on those routers. And it looks like an IDE cable. Hold on, we're getting to the Commodore stuff. Some serial and mouse adapters. Those will come in handy. A serial mouse. I think it's a serial mouse. I mean, I think it's just a serial mouse. I doubt that's like a Commodore mouse. A phone adapter, a SCSI adapter. Here we go. Inside Commodore DOS, the complete guide to the 1541 disk operating system. Ignorance is a precious thing. Once lost, it can never be regained. All right. This will be good. The complete guide to Commodore DOS. All right. I have never seen such a complete guide to Commodore DOS. Partly because until I had my first Commodore, I would have never thought to look for something like this. Oh, wow. That's actually quite the reference book. Okay, that's actually wow. They don't make books like they used to. That's for sure. Neat. That could be very interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna put that in with the other books. Ooh, here we go. We've got a copy of Vic Revealed. Again, there was no Vic computer, but well, we got a copy of Vic Revealed. That's neat. All right. Kind of falling apart, but yep, and there we go. We got a Commodore 64 user's guide and a I bet my friend did a little programming with the Commodore 64. Fortunately, no video cable, so looks like I'm gonna have to try to find one, or we're not gonna get to try Commodores tonight. We have mapping the Commodore 64, a comprehensive memory guide for beginning and advanced programmers of the Commodore 64 personal computer. A Compute Books publication, one of the ABC publishing companies. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. This is actually quite an interesting book if this is what I think it is. I think this book, let's go to the contents. Oh, wow. Okay. This book is walking through the entire memory map of the Commodore 64 computer. That's neat. There we go. Page 0. And it looks like it's oh yeah, going through everything in page 0. Page 1. Wow, that's a lot on page 0. There we go, page 1. Oh wow, there's not much on page 1. Uh, folks, could you have not fit that on one page? Because that's actually 2 pages. Pages 2 and 3. What? That's more than pages 2 and 3. Okay, I'm feeling really disappointed by that chapter on page 1 because there's way more information on pages 0, 2, and 3. 1K to 40K. Okay, I guess there's just not a lot to write about here because I guess a lot of that's blank memory. Yeah. 8K basic ROM and 4K free RAM. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's going to go through all the basic subroutines? Oh, I think this is giving the addresses for all the basic routines. I'm sure this is documented somewhere else too. VIC2, SID, IO devices, color RAM, and character ROM. Oh wow, I could see how this would have been very handy back in the day. It's not like you'd be using the internet or for this. And this book was probably a lot cheaper than an hour of prime Oh, yeah, yeah. This book was cheaper than an hour of prime time on CompuServe. In fact, actually, I think this book would have been the same as 3 hours of non-prime usage on CompuServe at 300 baud, and something tells me that this book is would have taken longer than 3 hours to download at those 300 baud speeds. Wow, this would have definitely been, if you were programming back in the day, this would have been a book you would have wanted. This that like tells you where everything is, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, there we go. It's the screen location table and the screen color memory. Oh, I guess I was off screen. Some other handy reference charts. There's the Petsky characters, screen codes, key codes. Oh, and there we go. A nice index. By memory location. Yeah. Wow. This would have been. Oh wow, this would have been a neat book to have back in the day. Actually, still kind of neat. Yeah, if you were a programmer of the C64, I think this would have been, especially if you were like doing assembly programming, wanted to get the most out of the system, probably would have been a $15 well spent book. All right, very cool. Very cool. Now, what would be cool is if I could find my video cable so that I could plug a C64 in. Although this one is broken, I guess maybe we can open it up and inspect it inside before we go try to power it up. Oh, bummer. The RF shield is gone. Oh, well. All right, well, let's carefully unplug the keyboard. I don't know if I can unplug the keyboard. Oh, I think. Oh, problem number one is some of the screws are missing from the. There we go. From the motherboard up, and the LED's still plugged in. Get that. There we go. Okay. Guess at least the good thing is the keyboard is intact. The tape that is usually on the back of it is missing, but the keyboard is intact. All right, the RF shield is gone. Oh, that's okay, Jeremy. Okay, so we have a I believe they call this a longboard. It is a assembly number 250407. I believe it's the longboard because it fills the case. Most of the chips are actually soldered to the board. Wow, that is different than I normally see. I guess we'll have to see what the VIC is. But I definitely see a few reasons why the user port might be broken on this computer. Let's enhance. Enhance. Um I think it might be quicker to count the number of chips that are not MOS. Check chip dates. All right, we have okay, this is really interesting. Really interesting. Okay, so we're going to go through these chips because I'm noticing something here. All right, so our PLA, week 17, 1983. Our SID chip, week 23 of 83. Our CPU, week 24 of 83. one of our static RAMs. I'm pretty sure that's a static RAM, and the only socketed chip in this computer. In fact, it is on a milled one of the round pin sockets, or which I usually call them turned pins. I believe that's one of the color RAM chips. And because it's in a turned pin socket, I suspect my friend replaced that chip because Commodore did not use turned pins. And I can't read the date code right offhand. We'll have to put it under a microscope. All right, the one of the ROMs, week 1683. This ROM here, week, I think, week 21 of 1988. No, that's not a date. Oh, there it is. Week 19 of 1983. This one here is, I'm thinking that's going to be week, it says 3546. Part number is 901226-01, 5-613546. So I have no idea what the date is on that one because it's not 1983 week 54. That's not a valid production date. Maybe that is week 35 of 1984. Maybe it's, I don't know. Let's see what the other dates are because there's a couple here that are definitely later. So this one here, the 6526, this one's been replaced because I see the rework. So that would explain why this one might be newer. It is 1984 week 44. And there's definitely been some rework here. So we'll have to pull the board out and see if it looks like Commodore rework or possibly my friend tried to fix the user port and failed. But this chip is definitely soldered directly into the motherboard. All right, this one is week 24, 1983. So all these chips here in this row are MOS. All right. We're going to go back up this way. So this is the 7406. It is 1983 week 27, I believe. We have a MOSTEC RAM. This does not bode well. 1983 week 23. MOSTEC RAM. 83 week 23. 83 week 23. 83 week 23. All right, we have a Fairchild. 83 week 17. Fairchild. 83 week 10. Fairchild. 83 week 14. This is definitely a replacement chip. I cannot read under the stamp. Oh! Orange Skies has just subscribed. Welcome, Orange Skies. All right, we have a 4066 here from RCA. 83 week 18. Another 4066, 83 week 18. We have a Fuji, 83 week 12. Another Fuji chip, 83 week 13. A Fairchild, 83 week 17. Sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera. All right, and 4 more MOSTEC RAM chips. 83 week 23 on all of them. And then finally, a Texas Instruments, the NE556. It is 83 week 19. So, yeah, MOSTEC RAM is just as bad as MT, yeah, for this early stuff. So, of all the chips, none of them are in factory sockets, and this one is predisposed to failure. That's not good odds. And I can't find my video cable, so I'm going to have to find one. I will probably start with dead test on this one because I suspect there's more than just the user port bad on this one. It might have been a bad user port when my friend stopped using it, but I think it's going to be more than I bargained for. All right, let's see if I can figure out how the metal shield comes off on the... All right. Hold please while I... All right, see if I can find a spudger. Something. I need something pointy to stick under there, because it's like... Jeremy says if you connect the luminescence and ground pins, you might get a black and white picture out. Jeremy, I got to be able to plug it into my scaler to get it into my input card. I can't just... I don't have the ability to just arbitrarily connect wires to my scaler. Besides, Jeremy says connect into an RCA jack. I don't have enough clip leads to be able to arbitrarily connect them to an RCA cable. I have like probably 0 clip leads because the problem is I buy a bunch, they break, and then I have to remember to buy more. What happens when I buy cheap ones? Besides, I have like at least 1, if not 2 video cables that work with C64, and I have misplaced both of them. So if I can find the cable, then I can have color video. All right, let me just unscrew this the rest of the way. There's like 1 screw holding it in, and then I can pull this out of the case, and then I can actually apply some leverage to something that's not plastic. There we go. If I get desperate, I will try to find something to clip onto the 2 signals on the RCA jack, but I do not have something right offhand that will be able to clip that. I am not afraid that I won't short against something that I don't want to short. I got video cables somewhere, and the thing is I can't find any of my video cables, although I'll have to be careful because some of them are actually for other computer platforms. I think I'm the first person to have ever opened this. There we go. Ah, there we go. And there is the VIC-2 chip. It is actually socketed. Week 17 of 1983. And I give Commodore and... Oh, actually, I didn't realize the clock synthesizer's in a socket. Okay, so it does appear as if 2 chips were factory socketed. I also give Commodore a D- for thermal paste application, because look at that coverage. That's like, they were going cheap. That's actually pretty cool. That's a ceramic thick chip. I have to look in my other C64 to see if it was ceramic. Okay, well, I did get the motherboard out, so let's take a look at that 1 chip. Oh, what do you know? The RF shield's still on it. And it's brass. Well, that's... All right, let me see if I can get it off because I think it's been desoldered already. I think it's desoldered. It was just clipped back on, probably to. There we go. Jeremy says it's the pretty but early and problematic Vic chip. Ooh. Why is the C64 acting? Why does the C64 have to be the like failure prone edition? All right, so it looks like we have a repair. Now, this is that RAM chip that was in turned pin sockets. So that definitely looks like a non-Commodore repair. And then there's the CIA. And while it does appear to be a I think I might see why there's a problem with the user port. All right, let's get the microscope in here. You might have actually seen it in the camera view. I suspect if I get the microscope view out, it will probably be more apparent. But let's see here. Oh, Jeremy says E64s are failure prone because they're 40 years old. Yeah, no. Well, yeah, I guess when you put it that way. All right, I thought that was not soldered, but that is soldered. Although it's not like the greatest of solder joints. There is solder there, so it was kind of looking like there might have actually this. I may have to clean this old flux off the board. This one trace here is coming awfully close to these solder joints. Some of them are more soldery than others. Like, ooh, that right there. Oh, okay, maybe that's just kind of crusty solder mask. Yeah, may have to check that a little more. I'll clean the flux off the board. Alright, that's the one row. Here's the other row. It's yeah, I think. Ooh, and they come close to that trace. Ooh, that solder joint there. Maybe that was just a shadow. Okay. Oh, okay, and that trace. Whoops, I bumped the board. Okay, I think that trace is actually. Oh, okay, so that trace actually goes to that pad. Okay. Let's say, ooh, is that shorted? Well, I guess technically it is, but it's supposed to be. Alright. Alright. I think I can say this CIA has definitely been replaced, and I don't think it was Commodore. Jeremy says Commodore wasn't known for quality, unfortunately. But the Commodore was keeping up with me. Oh, now that's an interesting repair. Probably nothing to do with the user port. All right, so probably going to have to run dead test and see what it says. Although I don't have any test harnesses, but in order to test this board, I'm going to have to find a video cable or make one. Oh, I guess there's one more thing we could do because I couldn't read the date code on this one chip here because the it's marked 4417. So this is an Intel static RAM, I believe. 4D62. All right, I can't read a date code. I'm not sure the date code on that chip is on the top. Quite possible the date code on this Intel chip's on the bottom. But unless that chip's bad, I'm just going to leave it be. All right, I see no reason on this C64 that I can't try to power it up. But I need to get a video cable. Or well, let me put it this way. I would like to find a video cable because that makes it the easiest to plug into my scaler and we all get to see what I'm seeing. The fallback would be if I discover the TV that might actually have the two spade terminals on it for an antenna. If I discover it actually does have that, then I could use the RF adapter. But I don't think it has that on it. I don't think the TV is quite that old. Coat hanger from the RF port. Oh, hi, Robert. Um, I don't coat hanger from the RF port. Yeah. Well, it is very hard for me to be able to show a TV on stream because I don't really have a place to set a TV. So let me see if I can find the video cable that I have misplaced. It has got to be around here somewhere. So, all right, let me go to be right back, and I'll see if I can find the video cable. Well, the good news is I did find a video cable for a Commodore 64. Bad news is it's not one that'll plug into this Commodore 64, but it will plug into the other one. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the one that plugs into the first one. Let me see if by chance it's in a mess of cables coming from my scaler. I know. It's like I don't know what I did with it. Because the thing is, not only can I not find the other C64 cable that I have, I can't find the TI-99-4A cable that I have. I do not have a DIN plug. And I cannot find the MSX cable, which is actually the really troubling one because at least two of those are pinned differently from the other. I don't have an Atari cable, Thomas, because the only Atari I have, the Atari 400, never had an AV cable plug on it. Yeah, the only AV cable I found is the one that's in the bag. I don't know where the other ones went, which is weird because they should be around here. And I was trying to keep them, or at least trying to keep them with the computer they go to, because some of them are not pinned the same. And some of them, if you plug them into the other computers, they give you 5 volts where you're least expecting it. Also, I do know the MSX cable is not compatible with Commodore. I think MSX is pinned out differently. Or is it the TI-99-4A that's pinned out differently? Actually, that might be. Yeah, maybe that's the three. I think MSX is one, TI-99-4A is one, and then Commodore. Um, well, this one works with the Commodores. The other one I have, I think, works with Atari and Commodore and something else. I can't find it. Oh, it's got to be around here somewhere, just haunting me. I know that cable's taunting me. It's like got to be somewhere around here. All right. Does the TV I have big terminals on it? Is the TV cable somehow plugged in? No, the TV does not have straight terminals. Okay. Well, well, I guess I'll be ordering more cables from 8-Bit Classics soon. Seriously, I don't have any DIN plugs. Not there. I don't have any male DIN plugs. I got plenty of female DIN plugs. I would have to destroy a MIDI cable. That would be the best thing I could do, and I don't really want to cut any of my MIDI cables. The thing is, I've got the cable somewhere. I don't want to destroy any of my MIDI cables, so um, the thing is, I know I've got the cable. I don't want to destroy another cable just to make a cable that's going to show up 5 minutes after I splice something together. Because in order to make a cable, I would have to cut a MIDI cable and I would have to cut a RCA cable and splice the two together. And I don't exactly have. I mean, I have several MIDI cables, so that I'm not short on MIDI cables, but those are rather expensive. And it's the RCA cables are the ones I don't have like a huge surplus of that are splice worthy. I don't have any clip leads that I could I don't have any clip leads. The only clip leads I have are the alligator ones, and most of them I think this might be the one that I actually have that has both ends as alligator. I think the rest of them I've clipped the other end off because I needed something that wasn't alligator. But besides, those are not I would never be able to clip those onto the oh wait. Wait a minute. No, I gotta be imagining things. That is I didn't think this version of the board had a wait a minute. Did I which one of those is the video cable? I thought the video Alright, where does Commodore label those ports on the outside of the case? They don't. Oh, great. Alright. Which of those is... No, the video cable's the one that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pins. Or is that the... Is that the... Which, why does Commodore not label the pins? Or the ports? Oh, okay. I don't know which is which. I'm confused myself now. Alright. Commodore 64 users guide. Alright, which is which? Blah, 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 blah. Alright. So the audio video jack is the one beside the cartridge port. I didn't think this version of the board had an 8-pin port. Is this really the video port? Yeah, I guess that is okay. I stand corrected. That I thought that these only had a 5-pin video port. I didn't even bother to look. Someone please stop me if I've like plugged the video cable into the wrong port because it's not labeled. But apparently apparently I learn something new every day. I sure thought these P64s had 5-pin video cables. All right. Well, let me. All right. So I am using my aftermarket power adapter that I trust better. All right. Let me plug the video cable in. Oh, hi, Lucas. Welcome. Only the first revision boards have the 5-pin video. Okay, well, I guess I got thrown for a loop because this has one of the older VIC chips on it. I guess I didn't realize that. Okay. right. Well, let's plug this dead test cartridge in. Which, since it's not in a cartridge shell, I'm going to have to carefully line up and plug in. Oh, there we go. All right. So, let me turn the power adapter on. And let's see. Power adapter. Power adapter should have power. No. There we go. Now it does. All right. So I guess 3, 2, 1. All right. We have power. All right. Let me really quickly. I guess I can really quickly go to capture and see what we might have. Let's see. Two. We got half a volt on that pin of the voltage regulator. Oh, I. Oh, wait a minute. That fuse looks funny. Oh, okay. Hold on. Just noticed something. The fuse looks funny. All right, I've turned power off. Let me just do a continuity check on the fuse. Because I had no voltage on the voltage regulator, and missed the video out fiasco visually. Oh, well, I figured out, I realized that I actually did have a cable that could plug into the C64. I thought with the older VIC chip in it that it might, I didn't think to look at the video port closely. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not anything to see because the fuse is blown. I I think this fuse might have been blown before I started, and I just didn't realize it. But I don't think I've got any fuses. I'm having a very hard time getting the fuse out. Oh yeah, that fuse is definitely. Yep, that fuse is definitely broken. Hard to focus on, but as you can see, there's definitely a gap in the metal in the fuse. That fuse is um no, Jeremy, a 7-pin cable into a 7-pin port. I found my 7-pin cable. I did not find my 5-pin cable. I did not realize this board was new enough to have a 7-pin connector on it. So I was looking for a 5-pin video cable because I didn't look at the video connector because I thought it was an old board. Turns out it's not as old as I thought it was. Jeremy says the VIC chip could have been changed out. Yeah, I got fooled by it. Moving on. I've got this board has a blown fuse. I do not have fuses for Commodore 64s. I guess what we'll have to do is if there's like anything still shorted on the board, because the fuse be blown. think the middle pin, yeah. All right. Okay. So the voltage regulators are not. Second revision board. Yeah, I don't have the board revisions memorized. I just knew it was a long board and I thought it was a, yeah, board's marked revision B, so I guess this is a second revision. First rev boards had the SID and PLA right next to each other. The RF can is a lot bigger, and the board revision is 326298. The 250407 board is the second revision. Okay. I I'm just spot checking for shorts because the thing is, I'd have to borrow a fuse from another C64. I'm not seeing anything that's shorted. Okay, so that's probably the ground on the. Okay, so those are two ground pins on the power connector, I think. All right. Jeremy says fuse could have been blown if the power supply used was bad. I mean, yeah, I guess the last time it was powered up before I got it could have been a bad power supply. I'm using an aftermarket one that I know is good. I didn't think to check the fuse before I powered up, so it was probably already blown. The owner did tell me the user port didn't work. It is also quite possibly that the user port didn't work because it got shorted, and that's what blew the fuse too. Okay, anyways, I will have to borrow a fuse from something else for this board, so let's set it to the side for now. Yeah, I don't think it just blew. All right, let's take a look at the other C64. Now, I knew it had the 7-pin connector. We'll plug that in. And I guess we'll go plug in dead test and power. All right, and 3, 2, 1, and we have a power LED. We have a white line, so at least we do have probably a VIC. And we've got dead test. All right. Now, I don't have an audio cable plugged in because I'm going to have to figure out a way to get RCA audio into this computer. So we won't know if the SID's working for now, but at least we'll see if we can figure out what's going on with the C64s. Jeremy says, I trust the newer power supplies a lot more than an OG Commodore. Some of the older Commodore power supplies were known to like short 12 volts to the 5-volt rail, or like 18-volt, or like some higher voltage to 5 volts, or the regulator and the power adapter would fail and not. I don't know if it was the fact that they were not well designed, but then again, I guess if you picked a component that can fail shorted, that would be a poor design choice. Yeah, Jeremy says the 9-volt AC transformer can go nuclear. Okay, well, dead test is running. As I said, I don't have an audio cable. Or, well, I do have an audio. I mean, I don't have a way to plug the audio in at this immediate moment because I removed all the extraneous USB audio capture devices from this computer. So I'm not sure that I have the one handy and it's not set up that I was using. All right, so here's the C64 diagnostic. I do not have the diagnostic harnesses, so some of these tests will fail. And I'm trying to figure out if I have a way to get the audio on this computer anyways. Okay, those I'm expecting are bad because I don't have harnesses, and those all require harnesses. So I'm really curious about the SID. What? No, my gateway speakers don't have RCA inputs. I need to break down to get a set of speakers for the basement that has an RCA input. So at least if I can't like plug the audio in for direct capture, I can at least plug the audio into a set of speakers. I've got a set of beige gateway speakers down here, but they are RCA input only. I just need to break down and order some more cables, I guess. All right, well, I guess the SID will be a mystery. Yeah, I don't have a C64 power saver, so for at the moment, I'll just use this aftermarket one that will probably be fine. And there we go. Commodore 64 Basic V2 10 print. All right, where's the quote? Where's the quote? Ah, it it freaking works. Sorry, Adrian Black. 20. Oops. Print. Hello. Bonus if you can identify which channel accidentally typed that. 30. Print. B. Quick. Brown. Box. Jumps. Over. E. lazy dog. Must be a basset hound. 40. Go to 10. Run. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Not clear. New. All right. All right. We have 0. Print. Character string. All right. Parentheses. TI divided by 1 plus 206 minus TI paren semicolon colon go to run. Wait a minute. List. Oops. TI divided by 1. Wait a minute. Did I use the wrong plus symbol or something? TI divided by 1 plus 206 minus TI. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm pretty much retyping things. Go to. Jeremy, I did clear out the previous program. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I see it. 0 print character string parentheses TI divided by 1. Actually, there's only one plus symbol. Plus 206 minus. Oh, wait a minute. I think I see the problem. Plus 206. That was the problem. I didn't want to shift the plus. I'm thrown off because that the plus and minus key have the Petsky characters on them. The Petsky characters are below the plus and minus, so it made it look like I needed to shift to get the plus. Bad keyboard design, Commodore. Yeah, and also I think there needed to be a space between print and character string. That was the problem. I shifted something that shouldn't have been shifted because the Petsky characters were throwing me off. I like the keyboards with the Petsky characters on the sides a whole lot more. There we go. We have a maze. It be amazing. It be really amazing. Now, if it just had a printer for this Commodore 64, we'd be going and creating a maze that I would then mail to someone to solve. And I have a whole box of tractor feed paper, so I could send you a really long maze to solve. I'm just kidding. I don't have time for that. Although it would be an epic sound. Cool. All right. It works. It's alive. Or as Johnny Five would say, no disassemble, because we don't need to disassemble this one. All right. Yay. C64C. Only thing I don't know about it is the SID, because I need to find a pair of speakers I can leave down here that has RCA inputs, or find the USB input device that I had. Because I guess for auxiliary input, I could risk USB becoming crackly. All right. So I guess what I need to do is find a fuse. All right. Because the thing is, the fuse probably didn't just blow on this. It was probably blown a long time ago. So let's see if I can. I'll just borrow the fuse from my other C64 longboard. I think it's a longboard. Although the thing is, I believe my other C64 that I sure thought was a longboard does not have a 7-pin video connector. I think it has only a 5. Oh, no, it is 7 pin. Alright, well, I'll borrow it. Okay, I guess it has a 7-pin connector too. I just didn't realize it. Alright, so we're going to borrow the fuse from this C64. This is the one I bought from. I think I bought this one from Savvy Sage. It also coincidentally has a lot of soldered MOS chips. You might see that, yes, the PLA had to be replaced, but at least this one had a socketed SID chip. Although I believe I had to install a socket for the PLA. Anyways, yeah, this is the first C64 I bought. I got this one from Savvy Sage. It's not in, I guess it's not in perfect condition, but I got a deal on it. So yeah, I guess basically Savvy had got a better C64 and decided to sell this one because it has some case damage. I guess now I need to remember to get a fuse. Yeah, it's got some case damage there. And the PLA was iffy when he sold it to me. So I knew I was going to have to replace the PLA, and well, I guess I can't be disappointed that I had to build one of the PLA replacements, because I was warned it was having symptoms commiserate with a failing PLA. All right. Okay. Power adapter's in, the video adapter's in, dead test is in, a fuse is in. 3, 2, 1. All right. The fuse did not blow. We have a white line. Whoa! This C64 is tripping. Anyone want to take a gamble on which RAM it's going to detect as bad? Something tells me the screen RAM is the color RAM. Yeah, fortunately the 0 page is okay, but something tells me the color RAM is not. Ha ha! Called it. Oh wait, is the color RAM just this one chip? Okay, the MOS check tech RAM is okay. It's not running hot. Yeah, the one socketed chip. Disco Commodore. Oh, I can't. Disco Commodore. Yeah, that's color RAM. The color RAM failed. All right, let's go to table cam. Let's pull the color RAM. That's very interesting. Oh, why do these capacitors have to be so close to the... All right, I feel like I'm going to break something. All right, so we have a color RAM chip. Thought I'd look for a date code on the bottom. Oh, interesting. If I'm reading the what might be the date code on the bottom of this chip. Oop, let me go. Pluggable microscope. Intel really using a 4-digit date code that early? I think this color RAM chip might be 1980 week 1. Okay. Well, here's actually some good news. I just saved a bunch of money on my card. Just kidding. I think I've got some color RAMs that'll work with this computer. Oh, Jeremy's been kind of bugging me to take another look at this computer. So someday I will. But anyways, if I'm not mistaken, my Micro Ace, which has severe, awful keyboard problems. Actually, that's quite interesting. The reason why I grabbed this is here are some of the static RAMs in my Micro Ace, and if you'll notice, they are marked very similarly to the RAM that was in this Commodore 64. 447 X1 4471. I don't know what company might have been marking those SRAMs like that, but I kind of find that very interesting. So I'm wondering if that color RAM chip came from a very similar source as to the extra SRAMs in this Micro Ace. Anyways, if I am not mistaken, the Commodore's color RAM is a 2114 SRAM, which would mean it's not those chips, but here we go. I've got some GTE brand 2114s because I bought these because I thought my Micro Ace had a bad SRAM in it. And someone please stop me if I am mistaken, because that Intel chip, I cannot read its part number. And I think Intel had a different part number on the SRAM anyways. But I believe that the 2114 is the SRAM I need. Well, Jeremy, the problem with the microAce is it does not use a standard keyboard. It uses a crummy keyboard, and I think so. The problem is no one makes the keyboard overlays for the ZX80s anymore, which that's basically what this is. So I basically am going to have to remake the sticky adhesive, but I also have to fix the traces because there's trace damage. I don't know why, but there's trace damage around where the two halves of this case went together. Plus, the video signal in it is not NTSC compliant enough to play nicely with a lot of stuff these days. Which is why I'm de-incentivized to work on it, because it's such a pain to actually get the video signal on anything. Alright, anyways, so I just put a new 2114 in this C64. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alright, well, it didn't immediately erupt into flames. Ooh. Um, I don't think it was that SRAM. Disco 64, I know, yeah. I know, Jeremy, your specialty is keyboards and power supplies. But I don't want to put a mechanical keyboard on my microAce. In fact, it can't be done. The keyboard is part of the PCB. You're going to denature it to put a mechanical keyboard on it. These are supposed to have crummy keyboards. I'm pretty sure Sir um, um, Sinclair put that in his will and last testament that my old computers have to keep crummy keyboards. Something tells me it wasn't that SRAM. Yeah, the crummy keyboard's part of the design, like the Timex Sinclair. 95% done with the Franklin Ace 500 keyboard. I just need to verify the connections. Awesome. All right, I don't think the SRAM's the problem. Or this new SRAM's bad the same way. Hmm. Okay, well, the VIC chip's not like super hot. Okay, PLA's not like super hot. Okay, SID chip's not super hot. I mean, SID chip runs warm. Okay, no, it's not going to be the ROMs. Okay, let me go to the, maybe I should deoxit the socket. That's not a bad idea. Except that I'm not sponsored by Deoxit, so therefore I buy the cheap stuff from the auto parts store. Deoxit, or I guess it's Craig Limited. Sponsorship opportunities are available because you've got all the fancy Deoxit blends. But since my channel's probably not big enough, I'm just going to have to go with the cheap red stuff. And that probably was overkill, but all right. And I'm going to put the Intel chip back in place because it's kind of beginning to look like it wasn't the SRAM. I may have to take a look at the socket because I'm wondering if there might be a problem with the socket. Guess there's always a possibility it's the VIC chip. All right. All right. Got the SRAM back in. Let's try it again. Yeah, I think that line is like expected for some reason. Is there a MOS chip near the 2114? Yes, Jeremy, there is a MOS chip near the 2114. It would be the SID. Of course, now Jeremy's probably typing in the chat, no, the other side of the 2114, and no, it's actually a Fairchild. Is the line expected when your color RAM is bad? No, I think the line can happen on some revisions of the VIC, because I think I've seen it show up on some of Adrian's videos. The color RAM is supported by a 74LS class chip. Okay, well, it's a Fairchild brand. And, yeah, it's not a MOS chip. Otherwise, I probably would have gone straight to accusations against it. Anyways, I think I've seen the line show up on some of the C64s that Adrian's worked on. I've kind of wondered if it was maybe some versions of the VIC that that line is visible as opposed to not. I'd have to go back and see. Yeah, let me go look at the C64 visual troubleshooting guide. Let me see if it mentions anything. Because it like gives suggestions. Here we go. Pictorial64.com. Jeremy's asking it's a dip 4. Yeah, it's a dip 14 or a dip 16. I don't know how many pins. All right. Let's see here. I guess I'll share my screen, which means I'll have to go to the other screen here. So let's see if we see anything here that looks like the color RAM. Oh, your pet IT exports came in. Cool. That doesn't quite look like it. All right. I'm kind of looking for something that looks like incorrectly colored characters. None of those really match the symptom. Unfortunately, that'd be really cool if they could add some screenshots of dead test running. Oh, actually, never mind. Look at that. It's a screenshot of dead test running with a problem. But that's not our problem. Let me see. That is the chip in question beside the RAM chip is like U27. Although it's possible the PLA cause problems like that. Which screens will start up, including colored garbage, solid color screen, horizontal stripes? No, maybe not. All right, let's see here. Okay, well that's good that none of the VIC screenshots look like the problem. U27. Random colors with random characters. Hmm. Uh oh, Jack, there's just one small little problem. There's only 3 chips on this board in a socket, and 2 of the sockets are probably original. The VIC's in a socket, the timing chip's in a socket, and the color RAM's in a socket. Yeah, very coincidentally, the color RAM is in a socket. All the other chips are soldered to the board. So in order to test that 74 series chip, I got to remove it and install a socket, because it's like none of the chips are in sockets except color RAM, interestingly enough, the VIC, and the timing chip. And I think that might be because Commodore was always putting these in sockets, at least in this era of board. And this is a turned pin socket, so I don't think that's original. So I can't just pull that 74 series chip out and test it. I would have to unsolder it. Yeah, is the Commodore love? Yeah. Jack says, I know you love desoldering things. Yes, I do, but Claris is, like, not behaving. Claris needs a new heater, which means I just need to buy a new gun for the station, and no one's got the guns in stock. Try the color RAM from the working C64, maybe. Well, actually, I kind of thought I would do something else first, because cue the comment that that's not a socket from Commodore. Let's take a look at the repair job. Because if there's something wrong with the repair job, then maybe it's a quick fix. Yeah, the C. Oh, yeah, I'm not taking the C64C apart. The suggestion probably would have been take it from the other C64 because it's case open. Unfortunately, I believe it has not many more chips in a socket. And, aha, its color RAM is also not socketed. Yeah, my other C64 actually had a socketed SID chip from the factory. What does it use for video RAM? It uses so the video RAM, I believe, is in system RAM, but the colors are in this 2114 static RAM that someone has put a socket in after the fact, because this is a turned pin socket. I don't think I've ever seen Commodore use a turned pin socket. Because I would say the procuring agent that would have bought them would have probably been fired for spending so much on a socket. I think they always used like single or double wipe sockets. So yeah, 2114, very reliable. So I'm not sure. Well, actually, first of all, I would like to argue about the reliability, because I think in my micro ACE it's got bad 2114s. Granted, it was probably stored in a hot attic for 30 plus years. So maybe that's not a ding against the reliability of them after all. But yeah, I pulled one of my spare 2114s out. It did the same thing. So we're probably not looking at a 2114. Yeah, Thomas says Commodore used the cheapest single wipe sockets. Therefore, I'm fairly sure that's a good sign that this turned pin socket was an aftermarket edition. Also, the flux on it was probably another good sign of it being aftermarket, because although I know manufacturers don't often necessarily remove all the flux, it kind of didn't look like flux Commodore used. All right, so now that I've removed the flux from that socket, let's take a look at the soldering. All right, well, I guess there's still some flux around it. Turned pin socket could have a short. They are hard to solder. I mean, I would almost be tempted to remove the turned pin socket and install a standard dual wipe socket just because. Partly because I'm kind of concerned that. Well, that kind of looks ugly there. Oh, maybe that was burned flux. When my microscope is the camera. What in the world? Well, apparently my pluggable microscope has a microphone, which is preposterous because it does not have a microphone. Did that just kill the buzz? Yeah, I muted the microscope because apparently, looking at the VU meter in OBS, it's got like between negative 35 and negative 40 dBs of noise coming from it, despite the fact it doesn't have a microphone. It wasn't a buzz per se. It sounded just like a mic with the gain turned way up. Okay, that's just weird. Did I accidentally set an audio sort? No. Okay. That's just weird. Apparently, despite the fact that the microscope has no microphone on it, it has audio coming in from it. Yeah, it's gone now. I muted it. I didn't realize that there was audio coming from a microphoneless camera. I mean, seriously, I can't make it up. There's an audio signal coming from it, and there's no microphone on it. Or let me rephrase that. There is no pinhole on the outside of the microscope where there could be a microphone. That is not to say that they didn't go so cheap that there is a microphone inside of it because their USB chip required an audio source. And they didn't bother like wiring up something that was like a permanently muted audio source. Yeah, some of those joints don't look that great. I'm with you, Jeremy. But are they bad enough that it's causing a RAM error? I couldn't tell you, but let's do this. All right. I know I'm running out of time for streaming tonight. I kind of knew it would be a little bit tight to look through the Commodore stuff I got, but because I didn't really, well, I'll put it this way: I wasn't expecting that I would be able to get much repairing done, even though I know this board has a bad user port per the previous owner. I wasn't expecting to actually have a lot of repair time because not like I have a spare 62, 6526 laying around because I don't. Oh, that's right. I got the hold please. There we go. That's it. Okay, so I am going to reflow. Oh, so I pulled the static RAM chip out of the socket just because, and I am going to reflow the pins of the socket. It should be a 16-pin socket. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be 8 and 8, and then there's like 2 pins coming from something. That is really weird, but they don't look like they're the capacitor. Oh, that is an 18-pin socket. Okay. All right. Well, let's all right. Oh, now that I okay. No, it's a dip 18. It is a dip 18. I miscounted the first time. So, all right. Let me grab my flux, which fell on the floor. All right. Where's my what to do with my glasses? Where did I put the glasses? Okay, let's see here. All right, hold please. Apparently oh, misplaced my glasses. All right, where did I put them? All right, I got a spare pair over here, I believe. All right, hold please. Oh, there they are. I was about to say, I didn't think that I'd take. I sometimes will take a pair of glasses upstairs if they need cleaned, but I was pretty sure that I hadn't taken all of them upstairs without remembering, oh, yeah, I need to clean the ones I've taken upstairs. All right. I'm going to attempt to just reflow these without adding any solder, and we'll see how they look. I think some of these have enough solder on them. No, Windows, I am not going to do whatever you're asking me to do right now. All right. So that was a reflow of all the pins. And most of them look okay. All right. I think there are like one or two of these that still kind of look a bit anemic. Kind of like they maybe didn't get enough solder in the first place. That would be this one here. And maybe this one here. Okay. All right. I guess let me clean the flux off. I don't want to get flux everywhere. If this fixed it, great. If it fixed it, great. Stream's gonna come to a close then. If it didn't fix it, oh well. Better luck next time. Stream's going to come to a close then because it's like 11:57. So just like the fact that Pat Sajak will be doing the final spin tomorrow. Oh well, maybe bad analogy. Okay, I'm only going to be doing the final soldering touch up tonight, unlike Pat Sajak, which will be doing the he will be doing the final spin of his 41-year career. Almost seems like I should do a stream where I play the Wheel of Fortune toss game to commemorate Pat Sajak's career, because after all, Pat Sajak is the only Wheel of Fortune host I've ever known. minus the few shows where he had a substitute. Because I know he became host after I was born, but I was too young to have remembered those shows where he was like where he wasn't the host. So therefore, it's just about like Pat Sajak was the only host of Wheel of Fortune that I've known because I was too young for those like that season where it was a different host. And I'm having trouble remembering who that host was. I guess that's kind of my congratulations, Pat Sajak, on 41 years of Wheel of Fortune. I doubt you're going to be watching my live stream, but yeah, congratulations on 41 years of Wheel of Fortune, and maybe someday I'll play the Wheel of Fortune DOS game to commemorate it. And good luck to Ryan Seacrest, who will be taking over the hosting duties next season. Okay, and with that non-computer related well wish, because kind of one of those things when you're a kid of the 80s and 90s growing up, well, like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are two of those shows that your parents let you watch. So, or at least parents were more likely to let you watch than some other shows. So, might as well have grown up on those shows. All right, now I am looking for the dead test cartridge. I have put the SRAM back in now that I've reflowed the cartridge. Dead test is back in. All right. There's the white line. And are we going to have disco mode? Or are we going to have... Oh, we still have disco mode. Disco, disco, dead test. Da, 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 da. No one likes disco dead test. Although it does make me wonder, and maybe this will help me troubleshoot. So maybe this will be the last thing I'm going to do. So I put dead test in. We see that we have bad color RAM, but what will this system do if I try to boot without dead test? Maybe that. Oh, whoa! We have disco, disco, Commodore 64 Basic V2. Da 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 da. Disco, disco, Commodore. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, if you're sensitive to flashing things, you should probably be looking away. Let's see if I can look at the pictorial. I'll go to screen share. All right, let's see if anything on the pictorial guide will point me to what it might be, because I might be able to come up with a replacement. What's the chance that this is the PLA? Did the PLA do something that dastardly? Startup screen text with rapidly alternating colors. Swapping in a new PLA fixed the problem. Note the symptom can also be caused by bad color RAM. See here. Startup screen with flickering color characters. Some games also exhibited similar coloring. Placing U6 color RAM resolved the issue. Ooh. All right. Well, Jack says I prefer I prefer Disco Inferno. Thomas says that's perfect for the commercial. Yeah, all right. So I believe that the I believe this Commodore C64 needs more work. Actually, according to the pictorial guide, it might very well be the PLA. turn off my smart outlets. Or the color, it says, could be color RAM, could be PLA. What's the chances this Commodore 64 has a bad PLA? Let's ponder that. It is a MOSTech branded part. Week 17 of 83. Okay. Something has me wanting to go through my little bad chip bag here. One moment, please. Let me see if I can quickly spot the chip I'm looking for. Ooh, is that it right? Wow, that would be 906114-01. Ah, here we go. There, I found the PLA. It actually was near the top of the bag. So there's the PLA that was in my first C64 that I bought from Savvy Sage. It is a week 32 1983 chip. The PLA on this C64 is a week 17 of 1983. Well, if week 32 was bad enough to eventually fail, I bet week 17 also might be bad enough to eventually fail. Oh, hi, 1-bit. Just in time for the beginning. Oh, I wish. I wish I could stay up, but I do have to go to work tomorrow. Anyways, yeah, it looks like my C64C works. Other than I'll have to test the SID when I can get some speakers. This other C64, I am almost tempted for the next troubleshooting step on it of replacing the PLA. I have the PCBs to make a PLA replacement. I have the gals, and I can always try to remove the PLA carefully so that I could reuse it if that turns out to not be it. Am I keeping up with the Commodore? Well, because the Commodore is keeping up with you. Well, unfortunately, I'm finding that 40 years later, the Commodore failures are keeping up with me. Unfortunately, MOSTech chips around this era just were not good. And yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to replace one of the CIAs because my friend told me the user port was bad, and it looks like one of these had an attempted replacement, and they're both MOSTech branded chips. So I don't know. I'm worried I might have to replace one or both CIAs. Although I don't really need the user port. Modern Intel CPU fan to cool that stuff down. Yeah. Anyways, I think I may try replacing the PLA. I realize that might be a free chassis. Yeah. Unfortunately, 1-bit, I think the problem isn't the fact that the chips run hot. I think the problem is that they were doping the wafers with too much boron. So although they do run hot, I think basically the chip eats itself from the inside because it had too much boron doped into it. Because the thing is, they had to the wafers, they had varying doping agents to control the behavior of the wafer, and that's like way beyond me. I'm not an electrical engineer or a computer engineer. I don't know exactly what they do with wafers, but I do know, based on some reading I've done and tried to understand, and in fact, I think some ex-MOS engineers did a white paper, and they basically said as much, that the early chips for MOS had too much boron in them, and they'll eat themselves from the inside. So I don't think putting heat sinks on them will fix the problem of them eating themselves from the inside, because I think that's the too much boron doing it, not they're overheating. Yeah, Jeremy says, fortunately, there are modern replacements for just about every chip in a C64 nowadays. My slight counter argument is that some of them are still harder to get a hold of than others. And here's looking at you, Vic Chip. Yes, the PLA does often fail, so I think I may try replacing it. I realize that might be jumping the gun, but Jack says, "What doesn't fail in C64s?" Well, Jack, I think something that doesn't fail in a C64 is the. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. Yeah, Thomas says the boron reacts to the junctions with electricity passed through it. Yeah, basically it eats itself from the inside. One bit says Kawari Vic 2 is an awesome buy that gives you PAL support. Yeah, but I thought the Kawari was like either hard to get a hold of or it's expensive or both. I mean, not that sometimes expensive things aren't worth it for what they give you, but it's kind of the uh I mean, I would like one because it'll give you HDMI output on some of them, but I was thinking I don't know. There's there is a light version. Yeah, but I think the light version doesn't do something that I would want. Yeah, one bit says it's not blue scuzzy cheap, that's for sure. The big one that gives HDMI is super expensive. See, that's what I would want. I would want HDMI if I was going to bother getting it, because then you get a good capture. And that's the thing with those. It's like I wish there was some middle ground, but I guess when you do HDMI, you have to pay the HDMI licensing people or integrate HDMI that's had the license paid for it. One bit says I'm happy with the light one. I don't know. I'll look into it, but I don't think the Vic's bad on this one. I'm not going to just simply replace a Vic just because. I mean, now that I have more than one C64 though, I may get a Quarry for one so I can have one to do captures with for videos, but we'll see. Cuz remember, I've got the rule that if I have only one of something, I like to keep it stock unless like you have to do something to make it usable and then I'd prefer it reversible. But if I have a second one, especially if I have a second one that I believe already has a hole in the case for something that's no longer there. Now, might I actually do something a bit more with that? Maybe. Um, let's see. One bit says PAL support feels like I gained access to 5 times more stuff that I can run Euroscene demos. And I'm not really nostalgic for demos. Jeremy says, I personally wouldn't care for HDMI out of a 40-plus-year-old computer. It's almost heresy. Yes, but keep in mind, Jeremy, I didn't say that my desire for HDMI is to make it easier to capture video from the computer for videos. Because sometimes having an HDMI source or some high quality source for that type of capture is a lot easier to pull off and work with than you can even kind of like video post process it to make it look a little less crispy if it looks too crisp. But sometimes when you're capturing a video, it kind of is nice to be able to capture it until it looks good. And I'm talking about some computer platforms. Due to the way their video works, they are prone to having jail bars in the video signal, and those can be distracting. I don't think the C64 does it as much as other platforms. They're probably there, just as a matter of fact, to how the NTSC signals work on these computers. There probably is some amount of jail bars, but it may not be pronounced enough that you'd really notice it. There are other platforms where it's definitely noticeable. The MSX is one of them. I think the TI-99 4A is more prone to showing them. So it's sometimes nice to have an HDMI like direct from the chip capture because then you don't have those distracting artifacts. But that being said, though, there are some artifacts where if they're not there, then it kind of looks weird, like Apple II artifact color. Yeah, kind of somewhat looks a little weird when it's not there because that was the way the computer worked. But anyways, Jeremy says, I'm watching this through an NVIDIA GeForce 9500 GT in my main PC because my RTX 3080 died. Ugh. Okay, I subscribe to a YouTuber that fixes those new video cards. Northwest Repair, I believe. The one thing that channel has convinced me is that I should never, ever, ever buy a new video card ever again because they're all breaking. I'm like watching every new high end video card he repairs. I'm like, okay, why would I even consider that card? Because it seems like you're always repairing them. Are there really that many people out there thoroughly abusing their card? Or are these cards becoming way too heavy for themselves? Because it seems like there's an awful lot of the cards where the board is actually cracking at the PCI Express connector where the like reinforcement thing is. I'm like, and like RAM chips ripping pads and ripped pads under the GPU core. I'm looking at these. I'm like, are these cards coming too heavy for themselves or what? Oh, well, okay, yeah, there's also that. Jeremy says, mine was killed in a thunderstorm. He left his computer plugged in. Okay, yeah, there's also that. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't realize that's why your video card died. I feel your pain, Jeremy. I've lost computers in thunderstorms too. My first computer was lost in a thunderstorm, so I feel your pain. Granted, it's old pain, and it's not like that computer had an RTX 3080, but I mean, it was the whole computer that went, and yeah, I mean, kind of high school. Wait, would have been high school? Yeah, I guess I would have been in high school. So yeah, I kind of feel your pain. I know what it's like to lose computer parts in a thunderstorm. I think in that case, though, I'm not sure I would have necessarily known to have known of the need to unplug the computer because if it's the thunderstorm I'm thinking of, it kind of came out of almost nowhere, and there wasn't really much warning that it was going to be there to have known to unplug it before the lightning struck, like somewhere a couple houses down across the street. So it's like I don't know that I had enough warning to know there was a thunderstorm coming to have unplugged it in that case. And I think it actually started, it came in through the modem, but, um, oh, good. Jeremy says, the good news though, my mother in law is giving me another PC to build with parts for mine and hers. Oh, well, but you got to wait 2 months. Ah, bummer. Okay, well, at least that is some good news that you've got some parts coming. Yeah, bummer that you got to wait 2 months to get it, but it's at least good you got some parts coming your way. So, all right, but yeah, I feel your pain, Jeremy. Yes, I guess yes, even if you have the surge protectors and whatnot, I mean those can still they can fail, and you can have surges come in ways that you weren't realizing. So, AMD 7800 XT CPU, nice. That's nice. Pretty good CPU. So, anyways, all right. So let's see what's Jack says, I wish my panel supported whole house surge protection. Yeah, I've actually thought about looking into that for my panel, or actually panels, because there's actually two panels. And I believe I would have to put it on both panels. I may look into that, because I think there might be a whole house surge protector for the panels I have. It's at least another step. I mean, the thing is, all surge protectors can have their ratings exceeded, and surges can come through. But the thing is, but depending on how where the surge comes in through and how big it is, I mean, yeah, the whole house protector may protect everything, or at least it might minimize damage. Yeah, not a guarantee, but if you actually, Jeremy, what we're talking about are actually surge protectors that are in the panel box. So it's kind of like if you could plug your entire house into a great big giant surge protector. That's what we're talking about. It's like another level of protection to try to. They're usually rated for a larger surge than like your wall mount or plug-in ones. Um, yeah, the thing is, GFCI breakers and AFCI breakers aren't going to do anything to protect you against a lightning or high voltage. GFCIs are designed to protect you against a short to ground. Say, for example, you're using an appliance or a tool that has an electrical fault that causes live to go through neutral, potentially going through you to get to ground. That's what the ground fault protector protects you from, is a like some fault in an appliance that could have potentially sent current through you. It trips at about 3 to 5 milliamps, which is not a high enough current of AC to harm you. Yes, you would probably feel a slight tingle, but at least it's not high enough to hurt you. So that's what a GFCI protects against. It would not do anything for a lightning strike. AFCI breakers or arc fault circuit breakers are actually designed to protect against arcing between like line and neutral and line and ground. They're actually somehow detecting the characteristics of arcing wire in your wall. So they're to protect you against like arcing wires in the wall. Say example, there's like a latent defect in the wiring in your house, and maybe the electrician accidentally drove a staple through the Romex instead of around it. That an arc fault circuit breaker helps protect you against those. But again, it's not going to do anything for a lightning strike. So that's where these whole house surge protectors come in. Those are designed to try to divert a surge, I guess, presumably to ground instead of through your house. But as with any surge protector, they do have a lifetime and they do have limits. So always, if you got a surge protector and it's got like a light to indicate if it's got surge protection functionality, if that goes out, you'll need to replace it. Also, usually it's a good idea to replace surge protectors after like so many years, and I don't know what that is right offhand because the components in plug-in surge protectors are are even absorbing like minor surges. So over time, they'll actually eventually like lose their capability to absorb a large surge because they've been taking like minor, like little surges that like they're voltage transients that wouldn't really hurt anything in your house, but those mobs are taking them. So over time, they'll eventually fail. I want to say like 7 to 10 years, probably a good time frame to replace like plug-in surge protectors. Again, it's because they have a lifetime and they have a maximum amount of current they can take. So, um, anyways, I guess that's the PSA on like electrical safety for tonight. Who knows? Maybe I was inspired from a photo from one of my Instagram friends, um, who apparently is it's outage season again where he works, and well, he posted the photo this morning, and I immediately recognized what the gloves were in the background, and they were his electrical safety gloves for high voltage. Yes, because I have had high voltage training, so I saw them and I was like, I know exactly what you're about to do because I recognize those gloves. I don't know what voltage rating there were because I couldn't read that on them, but I saw what they were. I'm like, yep, those are high voltage safety gloves with the leather over gloves. I know exactly why he's got them there. Yes, Jack, I have had high voltage training, um, only because the lab I work in has some 480-volt outlets and 240-volt outlets. So I've had high voltage training, not like high voltage training that would be needed to actually go work on like a line, but I've had the high voltage training for working on the Granted, it's not like they have perfect training where it's like, oh, you're doing only up to maybe 480, so we give you the up to 480 training. The training covers like a little, like some amount over it. But yeah, I've had the high voltage training that through work. Just it's more of a here's the dangers, here's the PPE you would need, um, and some of that. So I immediately recognized the high voltage gloves because I've had enough of the high voltage training to a know not to mess with the voltages higher than I've been trained to, and b I can recognize and know the PPE I need to use. Yeah, so really, in reality, as high as I would go at work, ideally, I mean, I could wire something for 480, but it's going to be something that would plug into the wall. And believe me, if I did wire something for that, I would have thoroughly checked all the connections with an ohm meter while it's not plugged in before I'm plugging it in. Usually, though, it'd be 240 that I would be working with if it's not 120. So yeah, yes, I have had high voltage training. So therefore, when I am working on power supplies, when I give my warning that I've had high voltage training, that I have, so I do recognize the dangers that are inside the power supply because I know approximately what voltages caps are going to be charged to, and they're going to be DC. So I do recognize the danger. And again, when if I'm in a CRT, I do know that, yep, the CRT is going to be at, like, potentially 10 to 20 kilovolts, depending on if it's a color or a black and white CRT, and depending on the size of the CRT. I mean, smaller black and white CRTs may be like 7 or 8 kilovolts. The voltage is both a for a CRT is both going to be dependent on if it's black and white or color, and also the size of the CRT, because a larger CRT is going to need a higher voltage. But yeah, and I also recognize the what AC versus DC will do, and yeah, I know better than to if I'm working on high voltages to be using both of my hands. So, so yes, I've had high voltage training, so when I do open those up and I give my warning that I've had high voltage training, yes, it wasn't necessarily that I had, like, CRT safety training, but it was high voltage training, and it at least covered what is deemed necessary for me to be able to recognize the dangers, so that if I were in a situation where someone walked me up to something thinking I was capable of working on it, I at least also know the dangers to say, "No, you need to find someone else." That is not my level of expertise, and I've had the training to know that, yeah, I don't wanna go that high. So, yeah, Thomas Armstrong says, yeah, small black and white TV, 9 kilovolts, big color, 25 kilovolts. Yep, just like a range. So, but I do know that, yeah, there's those, um so I know what they'll do, and I'm aware that, yeah, I need to be careful. It's also how I know that if you, um that when I'm working a CRT, just so you know, the gloves I wear, these gloves are not would not protect me against one of those high voltage jolts. And not to step on any YouTuber's toes, when they're just wearing like the latex dish gloves, those probably aren't going to actually protect them, because that's the thing. Those high voltage gloves that you would actually work on live high voltages. And that's the other thing. I don't work on live high voltage. So yeah, so I've had high voltage training, but again, if I'm working on something at work, I'm not working on it live, but I still need to know the dangers of the voltages. So that's why I have the training. So and I periodically have to retake it. But anyways, yeah, if you're actually working on a live circuit of the ratings of the TVs, the electrical safety gloves are actually much thicker than these. They're rubber, and they're actually not that dexterous. So I would actually someday I might get a pair just to see if you could work on a CRT wearing them, but you've got to wear the rubber insulate because they're like thick rubber gloves. But then to protect the glove from getting punctured, you have to wear a leather overglove. So if you ever see so now if you ever see a lineman or a line worker working on electrical lines out in public, and you'll now maybe you'll notice that, oh wait, yeah, now I see Dustin was right. They are wearing two pairs of gloves. Yeah. Um yeah, it's like electrical line safety gloves are like high voltage protection plus 50, dexterity minus 100. Pretty pretty much probably the case. So I would be think that yeah, the best way to protect yourself against an accidental high voltage discharge in a CRT is to get your high voltage probe, flip the ground to ground, and stick your high voltage probe under the anode cap and discharge it. Because I think I suspect, and someday I'll actually try this just because I'm curious. I suspect those electrical safety gloves are not dexterous enough to actually work on a CRT and not risk actually necking it in the attempt to like pull things off of it. So yeah, I think that would be my final safety point is I think the best way to work on a CRT is unplug it and discharge it, or make sure it's off, discharge it, and then unplug it. So at least you still have your ground and then work on it while it's not live, because then you'll have the dexterity to be able to pull the neck board off, get the anode cap off, get all the electronics out from around it, and not risk necking it because you don't have the dexterity to cleanly remove something. So, yep. Thomas says clip anode to ground and leave it. Yeah, that would be good. So, yeah, that would be probably the best way to approach the CRT instead of trying to wear latex dish gloves. Discharge it, leave the anode clipped to ground, and then just work on it because it's not going to gain high voltage. Unless, of course, you're Joe's basement where there's like a voltage offset because of how it was wired. Your CRT is probably not going to gain an appreciable voltage just sitting there. I think Joe's basement's a unique case. Again, I don't know how much it'll just appreciate, but I know Joe said that if he leaves the CRT in his basement for like a couple days, it will actually build up some of a charge. So, Jeremy's asking me, do I have a 240-volt circuit in the basement? Just asking for the case of getting a European, Australian, other computer. Um, Jeremy, technically yes, but in reality, no. And if I did get one of those high voltage computers, I'd probably just get a transformer. The reason why I say technically yes is because there is a water heater, and my heat pump, all that has 240 volts, but it's not like it's an outlet. It's not like it's circuits I can just plug something else into. So technically there is 240 volts in the basement, but in reality there's not, because it's not like I can use it for a computer. I'd probably get a transformer. Although I have thought about running a 240-volt circuit down to the basement for something else, but actually that would be if I ever insulated the walls, put in a mini split. But then again, though, I wouldn't be able to use it for something else. So I'd probably just use a transformer. Hey, yeah, Jack says Joe's basement electrical scares me. Yeah, it actually kind of does me too. Just kind of the having the split ground or whatever they call it. Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, Joe's basement can air charge a CRT to some. But yeah, Thomas Armstrong says that's the air moving around the tube. So, anyways, Thomas Armstrong says, great stream. I'm going to break out my Commodore now. Awesome. All right. I encouraged you to break out a Commodore. Awesome. These are cool computers. I didn't have one growing up. School system had Apple IIs. I didn't have a Commodore growing up. I knew friends that had them. They thought they were the greatest computer, and I'm warming up to them. I mean, the SID, the VIC 2 chip, 64K of RAM. I mean, yeah, these are pretty neat computers. They can do a lot. And as I'm seeing now, yes, Apple IIs have their advantages and disadvantages. Commodores have their advantages and disadvantages. Atari's had their advantages and disadvantages. TI 994A had its quirks and features. The Timex Sinclair was Sinclair, and I know I'm missing one of the other major players. Oh yeah, and the TRS-80 has its advantages and disadvantages. And yeah, you all, I'm sure someone will get mad about the way I named two of those platforms, but anyways, all right. So I guess for next week, I am thinking on Tuesday. I'm kind of inspired by LGR here because LGR posted a computer to X that it had a BIOS that had speaking BIOS messages. So yeah, Thomas says Commodore had MOS as its disadvantages. Yes, that would be one of its disadvantages. In some cases, maybe not necessarily for the like 80s and early 90s disadvantage, but certainly for the longevity overall. Yes. Jeremy really wants to dive into the Australian micros. So Sadmac says, ooh, BIOS messages. Yeah, Sadmac knows exactly where I'm going. So I think LGR has inspired me that on Tuesday, I'm thinking of it, Tuesday being 286 Tuesday. Maybe I think I have what I need to put the Emerson 286 back together. I'm going to use a Mad Dog power supply to do it. Now I'll know if Gut Bomb's still like lurking in the background. And then the LTE 286 from Compaq. I've got some more work to do on that. So I'm kind of thinking maybe 286 Tuesday. Thought that was pretty cool. And then on Thursday, I was thinking of doing like Motherboard Thursday. I can't think of a name. Anyways, so I've got the Apple II Plus clone board that needs the tantalums replaced with ceramics, as it should have probably had to begin with. I've got a socket 462 motherboard that has like bulging caps for the like main CPU power. I'd like to replace those and see if the board works. I haven't powered it up because that's how many bulging caps there are on it. And then Toroid Thursday. What? Polaroid Thursday. Hmm. And then I've got that HP motherboard that actually there's probably absolutely nothing wrong with it after I flash the latest BIOS, but hey, maybe if we still have time on Thursday, we'll put it in a case. Although I think with the Apple II Plus motherboard and then that socket 462 motherboard, that might actually fill a Thursday stream. That's kind of what I was thinking. 286 Tuesday and then motherboard Thursday. Proposals in the comments if someone thinks of a catchier name for it. Uh, Next Thursday would be the 13th. No, I can't think of anything to tie in the number 13 with motherboards that wouldn't sound completely unlucky and scare off the Asian. Or actually, no, wait. 13 is an unlucky number for Americans. Yeah, okay. Still, I can't think of something that ties in 13. Thursday, there's no thyristors. I don't know. Okay, I give up. It's oh wow, it's pretty late. Yeah, I'm out of names this late. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking because I don't have any more pickups that I'm expecting. So, and my mouse order did come in. So I did get my Mauser order that I placed last week. So I do have the ceramic caps for the 2 Plus. There should be the capacitors for that socket 462 motherboard. Oh yeah, I guess if we did have time, I could. I do have a transistor for the K Pro power supply, so we could maybe see if that fixes that problem too. If that transistor doesn't fix the K Pro power supply, though, I'm just putting a mean well on it because that's the last sensible thing to replace before mean welling it. But anyways, I may also try that on Dave's stream because that's like 5 or 10 minutes and I'm curious if that'll fix it. Anyways, I think that was a great stream. Two Commodores. One's working. One is hopefully fixable without too much transistor Thursday. I'll think of something catchy. Motherboard Mania. Oh, that's the name I was thinking of. Motherboard Mania. That might be what I was thinking of earlier today. We'll see. I'll come up with something. Anyways, it's a great stream. Some cool things. I know we didn't get to the software, so that'll be a later stream. Who knows? I'll probably do it later this month because I am somewhat curious. But I may actually that might be something I do on Dave's stream. I may sit down and just inspect the discs to see how many of them look moldy and how many of them look like I might be able to safely test them. So maybe I'll do that this weekend on Dave's stream. It's at least something I can check. Oh, that's right. The other thing I'm going to try on Dave's stream is Garth sent me a link to the Tiger installer for the Mac Pro. He thinks it'll work on the Mac Pro. So I'll probably try that on Dave's stream. So if you're kind of waiting to see the conclusion of can I get the Mac Pro to boot, I should be able to join Dave's stream this weekend, and I'll probably have the Mac Pro on the bench because Garth will probably be there. So we'll that's what I'm gonna try on Dave's stream is the Mac Pro, and then I'll probably inspect the floppy disks and a few other minor things like that. But anyways, great stream, great Commodores. This Commodore, it will work again. It's repairable. It may be the PLA, might be the color RAM still, could be a 74LS chip, but it's fixable. I don't think I'm seeing something that is a completely unknown problem that's going to be in a chip that there's no replacement for. So we'll get it working. Commodore 64C works great. It's a little dirty, but it works great. So not worried there. Some cool software to check out later. And yeah, I think with that, it's been a great stream. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that when I go live with any of what you've seen tonight or what I mentioned, you'll hopefully get a notification. They don't always work, but I do know if you don't enable notifications, then you will not get one. So have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.